One day, the earth grew tired of the events on its surface, because a wall made of hate, greed, intolerance, and prejudice covered the eyes of modern individual mankind. It was during these very days, a group of enlightened people decided to step forward and take responsibility rather than standing back and watching. In Istanbul, the year 1994, the Journalists and Writers Foundation set out on a journey toward the ongoing democratization of Turkey. It was the year 1997. This time, a huge event gathered together intellectuals, artists, politicians, authors, and experts from every corner of Turkey. Names and discussions that had seemed impossible to combine were there together, showing that dialogue and mutual understanding is stronger than prejudice. A heartfelt invitation was once again issued to the Christians and Jewish citizens coexisting peacefully in Turkish lands. Misconceptions about Islam and humane values, plagued with false remarks, were explained as widely as possible. A gathering with groups marginalized by the passage of time to talk, to understand, and to remember their shared values of the same geography. Meetings were held targeting reconciliation in troubled neighboring geographies. The transformation of raised fists to open arms was the harbinger of democratic currents in the following years. The grounds for democratic discussion established by the Journalists and Writers Foundation take place on 6 separate platforms. To find common sense and produce fair solutions. Abant Platform. Bringing together academics, scientists, and politicians from different languages and cultures. Meeting on common ground, opening doors for dialogue, and becoming the common sense of Turkey's summation. For producing projects directed to dialogue, understanding, reconciliation, and peace. Dialogue Eurasia Platform. Moving from Eurasia, the Dialogue Eurasia Platform facilitates dialogue, mutual understanding, and peaceful living between local people and people of the world. Also publishing a magazine in Russian and Turkish every 3 months, the platform has now become the calling card of the enlightened in Eurasia, as renowned author Cengiz Aytmatov states. For a principled, democratic, liberal, and sensitive media. Medialog Platform. Bringing together journalists behaving responsibly and ethically while announcing important world events to society. And while striving to explain Turkey, it both follows and organizes global efforts. To accept one another for what each is and exist together in peace. CADIP, Intercultural Dialogue Platform. Bringing together representatives from various cultural groups, religions, and sects in order to emphasize that differences are not flaws, but richness, and conducting exchanges of ideas and the search for dialogue. To prioritize women's role in the construction of dialogue and peace, Women's Platform. The Journalists and Writers Foundation's Women's Platform encourages the construction, sustaining, and protection of local and global-scale peace. It supports the establishment of pluralist and democratic grounds for resolving problems such as the breakup of the institution of the family, gender-based discrimination, and other issues. to make correct, trustworthy, and permanent notes in history. Research Center. Conducting scientific and academic studies, following studies conducted in the same area, organizing meetings and collecting information and documents for a correct interpretation in enlightened Turkey and beyond of the movement led by Fethullah Gülen, Honorary President of the Journalists and Writers Foundation. The Journalists and Writers Foundation is continuing its activities to create a more democratic and peaceful Turkey suited to coexistence through meetings, events, platforms, colorful and open iftar meals, workshops, and forums. The foundation is visited from abroad every year by over 6,000 influential bureaucrats, academics, journalists, scientists, and educators. In order to integrate Turkey globally, the voice of the world is being brought to Turkey, and Turkey's message is being brought to the world. Recognized as a General Council by the United Nations International Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC, the Journalists and Writers Foundation continues to be the intellectual foundations of democracy and peace in Turkey. The Journalists and Writers Foundation is sowing the seed for tomorrow in hope, believing that the peace Turkey and the world needs can only be provided through dialogue. The foundation invites everyone to coexist and be rid of all prejudice. The Journalists and Writers Foundation.